परमगुरुभ्यो श्रीमदानन्दतीर्थभगवत्पादाचार्योभ्यो नमो नमः। नारायणाय परिपूर्णगुणार्णवाय विश्वोदयस्थितितोलय नियतिप्रताय ज्ञानप्रताय विबुधासुरसौख्यदुःखसत्कारणाय विददाय नमो नमस्ते। यो विप्रलिम्ब विपरीतमधिप्रबोधान् वादान् निरस्य कृतवान् भुविदत्ववादं सर्वेश्वरो हरिरीति प्रतिपादकं तम् आनन्दतीर्थमुनिवरं नमामि। पूज्याय राघवेन्द्राय सत्यधर्मरताय च भजतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनवे। सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Madam, I think we have still in third Valli, we have got couple of mantras to go. We had a sort of a recap, earlier couple of days before, but anyway, we will just have a small recap as we are proceeding to the last three mantras, which are going to be very important mantra. Particularly, the next mantra was the one which has been taken up by Swami Vivekananda in a very big way, and in fact, that is what he covered, during his speech in Chicago. That also will come to that because this is the very important portion of it. As we have looked into, because now we have come to the sadhana part, having gone through the entire recap of the Upanishad, as to Nachiketa has asked for three important questions. One question is relating to his own return to earth after getting the knowledge. The second one is to know that particular yajna which he has to perform 3 times in one's lifetime, so that he can finally attain the ultimate knowledge. Ultimate knowledge holder is Yama. Yama is supposed to be Dharmaraja and ultimate holder of the knowledge also. One of the things we will have to understand, when he has taught him this knowledge, and this is a yajna which is called Agni, Brahma Agni, because of his capacity to absorb and understand the whole Agni, unlike anyone else, no one else has understood so clearly and so confidently in its plenitude. Having understood that, he named it as Nachiketa Agni as a sort of a bonus. He not only taught him, he also called it Nachiketa Agni. The third question which finally asked, because we have to recap, because as we are proceeding, the entire effort is to get the answer for the third question only. The third question he asked, after the body, after the soul leaves the body, what happens to us, where it goes? Because which we are not able to see, nor we can understand, by the body, mind and intellect what we have now. Based on whatever the knowledge, what we can gather, we will not be able to understand that. We will only be able to get some experience. Sometimes it could be mystical experience and all. Sometimes we call it God realization, sometimes it's called soul realization, and it is also called moksha, mukta, everything is called, but none of us can understand with this body, mind and intellect. This is what all the religions are trying to attempt at, what happens and all. That's why Christianity says there is only one birth. If you are doing everything good in this birth, you will go to the heaven. Otherwise, it is a hell. It is eternal condemnation. And likewise, the all other religions are also trying to sort of give their own philosophical approach towards what happens to the body, what happens to the soul after it leaves the body and all. This is called eschatology. Eschatology is a branch of philosophy in which it talks about the post life, after leaving the body, what happens and all. Because this has got a great meaning, because whatever we understand in this world, and because we learn to understand what we are in this world, what is the world, as a sort of, as the scientists have also come to know of it, and how they have propounded the entire thing now and all. I think I will talk it about, a little later, after the mantra after next, we are going to have a very big concept. At that time, I will talk it. If you really see, what is this world? We are in a universe. We are in a universe, and Earth is one component of this universe. We are in a galaxy of which Earth is a part of it. That is one galaxy. There are 760 million galaxies are there out in the world, it seems. We are one of those galaxies in which Earth is a small part of it. So therefore, there was a discussion a few days before, I think in a couple of months before, I happened to see partly, I will have to see that also. This was a discussion as to what are we doing here? Why we are here? This is the discussion. This was being led by because the London, the Imperial College, part of the Cambridge University, they conducted this. In this, one of the main person who was talking was Richard Dawkins, considered to be the atheist of the world, and because he is a great biologist. He is, in fact, he is more than 40 years of experience as a reputed professor, and he has propounded a lot of theories, and he has also proved a lot of things. But he doesn't believe in the existence of God or anything like that. And likewise, to counter him, just to give the counterpoint, there was a theologian from Judaist, the Jewish faith, and then one from Christianity. Another one is one lady, Jane Fraser. She's well versed in Indian philosophy, particularly Hindu philosophy. She was also there. This was the discussion that's going on. So when they asked Richard Dawkins, because you don't believe in God, and he said, I'm not going to talk about God and all. I'm just going to talk about science and biology. That's what I understand. He was very clear. So I don't understand any of these things, what you are talking about, philosophical terms, Aristotle, Plato, and all other existential philosophy and the other philosophies, which has come about, Friedrich Nietzsche and all. I don't understand any of these things. I am simply a man who can understand biology and science. I am going to talk about it. So when he was talking about, because one of the most important talk that is happening, in the scientific world particularly, is the understanding the consciousness, because consciousness is taken to be one of the main points of philosophy, where it is able to explain the consciousness in different ways. Though people will be able to understand, perhaps they may be able to grasp something, but they will not be able to give an empirical proof of consciousness. We can't give an empirical proof of consciousness scientifically by showing, yes, this is how consciousness can be understood. There is no other way we can do it. For that only, the Indian philosophy has devised various ways to understand, various ways to explain, various ways to sort of have our experience and go towards the process of understanding the consciousness. That is what we are in this Kathopanishad. So in that, what they say, because when we are trying to understand the consciousness, what we have, because we have got all the senses, through the senses, we have got all the experiences. We are able to sapta, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha, which we talked about, because they are all the qualities of the senses, not senses per se. Senses are only the instruments. They are all the hardware, because you may be having a big ear, but you may not be listening, because you may not be having the capacity to hear and listen, because hearing is something, listening is internalizing, but you may not be able to hear because your software is not working. That's why we quoted from various Upanishad. It is not the eyes and ears that is very important. The one which makes eye to see and ear to hear, they are very important. That is nothing but the software. Where does this software exist? This is question. Likewise, consciousness also is like that only, because we are not able to see. We have always been explaining, because the embodied brain, disembodied mind. The brain is in the body. The mind is not supposed, because you will not be able to find, if you just finally, cut open the body, you will not find the mind or anything like that. You will find the material brain, the gray matter with all the synaptic connections and the neurons, what is there. That can be explained by science, because neuron has been found to be there, and because a lot of the scientists have proven the existence of neuron. They have also worked with the neuron, how to do it and all. So when we are doing that, what is this mind and why we are talking about it? Because in this particular, the next mantra, what we are going to talk about, we are going to talk about senses and mind and all those things. That is why in our Indian philosophy, basically before we go into the mantra, we will just understand, what are all the mechanics they have understood, what are all the sort of a process, that is a research craft, what the philosophies have tried to bring out with, so that we can understand the consciousness in our Indian philosophy, not now, several million, 5,000, 6,000 years before it has been enshrined in the Upanishad, even before it has been enshrined in our Vedas and scriptures. We have got three components which we will have to understand, which we are proof of existence of any knowledge. One is pratyaksha. Pratyaksha is what we are able to actually see. You may have eyes, but you may be able to, unless the software is good, you may not be able to see so clearly. Even the instrument can have a fault. Like I had a cataract, I will have to have it operated, then only I will be able to see it properly. Then perhaps I may have to need a glass so that the focus is right and I am able to see as it is. Even after seeing that, to understand what it is, I should have the knowledge of that. Supposing, if I see something, because a material, element which I have not seen, it is a sort of, because Mendeleev's periodic table has got so many materials. I know gold, silver and all other things, copper and all, which I am generally used to in the everyday life. But I may not be able to knowing the indium or something like that, which is there. Unless someone tells, it is indium, I may not be able to understand. Unless I have the knowledge, I'm able to relate what I am seeing, I will not be able to get that knowledge. Because this is very, very important, friends, because what we are taken for granted every day, it has got a great process. Unless we understand the process, we will not be able to get to the the Brahma Vidya, Brahma knowledge, what is being tried to be brought out by this Kathopanishad, not only by all other philosophies, including Roman philosophy, Greek philosophy, everyone is trying to bring about the highest component of it, exegesis they are bringing to. So when we see pratyaksha, it has got so many things to work, because your instrument has to be work, it should not be faulty, and you should have the software to understand what it is. You should have the knowledge base, and then you should validate. Once you have the validate, that's why, because the Shankar must be knowing, he was into a great course called Atma Bodham and all, where always they try to bring about. I think most of us would have also heard this analogy between a snake and a rope. You can mistake the snake to be a rope, because if the conditions are not right, your instrument is not right, if there is no proper light, you may mistake as the rope as a snake. Then what happens immediately? You get a sense of fear. But where a snake is not there, but you get the sense of fear into it. Then because of the fear, your body reacts, your mind reacts, because you have got this fear psychosis, by reason of which you always have a doubt, and then though you don't embark upon that. But once you have a clarity, when the conditions are right, your instrument is right, your knowledge base is right, you are able to understand it is a rope. Once you know the rope, the snakeness in the rope gets off, because that is only a sort of an illusion it creates. But the illusion is not sort of an illusion per se, because once you have a fear of snake, that you have thought, it is a snake, it is a mistaken superimposition. They say it's a mistaken. So therefore, to understand the thing as it is, that is what we call the highest knowledge what we can do. Because all our knowledge is colored. When you like a person, you see whatever he does, everything is good, he knows, he understands. That's what you will think, because your mind colors. But if a person, whom you don't know or whom you don't like, either way, whom you don't know, you may not be knowing that person, but whatever he does, you may see with the iota of doubt. I don't know, because just now I am seeing him. I don't know what is he and what is he capable. You will have, you will not be opening up. You will not be breaking in. You will not be able to see anything and all. But if you don't like, automatically you don't. Your mind will send a message. Look, this man doesn't know whatever he is going to do. And he will be doing a horrible thing. It will not be worthwhile to be looked into. Likewise, it does. So one of the experiences what we do is pratyaksha. In the pratyaksha, when we do see it without the conditionalities of the mind, with the instrument being perfect, with the software being perfect, when you are able to get the right knowledge of that object, even when we are living in this world. Because every day we may not be able to see everything as it is, because our mind is colored, our attitude is colored. We have got our own vasanas. The vasanas are colored. So we always try to give the imputation to the object, and then therefore we are not able to think. Because this mechanics we let understand, though it is given, we take it for granted. I'm seeing it, and whatever I'm seeing is the correct, but it need not be correct, because you are not able to get the right knowledge of it. You are only finally able to get the mistaken knowledge. So therefore, there is an element of validation is required. Even when you see, there is an element of validation. Validation will be a knowledge. If because the salt you will be able to see, sugar you will be able to see, because you have got the knowledge it is a salt or a sugar. And therefore, if some rock salt is coming, because you have not seen, whether it is a rock salt and it is what type of a rock salt, it is what Himalayan rock salt or that rock salt, unless someone tells you, get the knowledge, then you will be able to see that. So therefore, to know the knowledge, that means, what we know is itself is not always correct. When you see it, this is one thing, basically it will come very handy. Not only that, once you understand that, we will see, because why the Upanishad is telling something, because which we are not able to see with our body and mind and intellect, because they have applied all these concepts. The next one is inference. You may not be able to always, because see the thing as it is. See, if you know there is some smoke coming out somewhere, there is a fire. And it is a very, very great analogy in all our Upanishad, in all our scriptures, when they discuss, because all these, the Brahma Sutram and all, when they discuss, this is one of the analogies. Parvato Varniman Dumaha. Once you are able to see the smoke, there is a fire, you understand that. But where the fire, you will not be able to locate, because if it is on the top of a hill, you may not be able to see, but there is a smoke coming out. The smoke is coming out, you may be able to see there is a fire. But at the same time, if there is a iron is, because someone is mending the iron, he puts it in a hot sort of a source, because he puts it in a furnace and take out that iron, it will be red hot. But there is no smoke. Only by feeling you will be able to know. But because iron is hot, you should not touch. There is no sort of a smoke. So therefore, you will be able to see, by seeing, you will be able to understand it is red hot, it is iron, it is capable of getting the heat. It can be heated to 1100 degree and all those things you understand. Then, you know that. But there you can't apply the inference. Likewise, the three things that they are talking about is pratyaksha is what you are seeing. Even what you are seeing need not necessarily be correct unless your instrument is okay, your software is okay, your knowledge base is okay. You may not be able to get the right knowledge as it is. The second is inference also. Once you are able to have something, that can give an inference and that is validated like a smoke, you will be able to understand. But if there is nothing, to give like a red hot iron, you can't say, because if you have not seen the iron being heated to such an extent, you may think, it is, there is no fire in that, but it has got a fire, it is red hot. So likewise, they are using these concepts to bring out how, because the mind, always how it gets the illusory knowledge. Illusory knowledge is because of the conditionalities, because of the instrument fault, because of the knowledge base. That's why knowledge is given so much importance into the Indian, because what we say, jnanam, Brahma jnanam, when we say, you are able to see the things as it is. And the third thing is, when you are not able to see any of the things with your senses, you are only able to get, because as the Nachiketa has asked, after the soul has left the body, where does it go? And we also talked about a famous book called The Denial of Death by Eric Becker, who got the 74 Pulitzer Prize for his psychological, the analysis of the work, which is considered to be a masterpiece of the 20th century. There also he says, because basically what we are doing is, or whatever we are doing is to understand and feel that we are existing. If something comes in the way, we are trying to immediately react. This is what we are doing. That's what he says. We may not be able to understand, appreciate it on a day-to-day basis. Supposing, as I was telling, because if you are having a small headache, your body is, going to have some problem. You've got a pain in the head, you've got a pain in the leg. and immediately you look for some Volini, apply something, or you take Combiflam, or if you've got a headache, you are taking a Saridon and all. You want to set the deha straight, body straight, because you want the body to be, because you want to see, the body is existence. We always want to see the body is existing in fine fettle, so we are able to experience the world. So every act what we are doing indirectly, psychologically they've analyzed, they are trying to protect our existence, and we try to because why he has given the name as denial of death, in the sense we want to deny, because even though so many cells may be going off, so many cells may be dying, and so many new cells may be created in the body, we are not pervious to that. We don't know that. We are impervious. It is being told, we understand that. When we grow, the path of growth is, because it's spliced, all the cells get spliced. That's why for an infant, we go into an adult, grow into an adult, because those things takes place. But we don't understand that, we feel it we take it for granted. Like scientifically, what they try to find with the empirical sort of evidence for everything in the philosophy, to some extent things are taken empirically, even they need not be correct. As I was telling, when you are seeing the things, unless you have the knowledge and instrument, everything cohabit and they give you the right and atmosphere and the right knowledge, then only you will be able to get it. So this has to be why, that is why, the jnanam is important. What we have is we have a knowledge, but need not necessarily be what we have all our right knowledge. Because we may be having our own angularities, we may be having our own infirmities, errors in the knowledge will be there. That is what we call avidya. We have a knowledge, but we don't know it is not a right knowledge. That is avidya. It is not that we are ignorant. We have got the knowledge. And the third one, they are telling, the one which is beyond in the body, mind, intellect, how you will be able to understand? You will be able to understand the Shrutis and scriptures. Agama, Pratyaksha, Anumana and Agama. These are all the three sources from which you will be able to understand the knowledge. And not only, because you will be able to gain the knowledge and validate the knowledge, and validated knowledge will be available to you. When we say Brahma Jnanam, it is all full of validated knowledge. As of now, what we have need not necessarily be all our valid knowledge. We may be having a lot of invalid knowledge also. Not that we may not be having any valid knowledge, we must be having a valid knowledge where we have got a full-fledged understanding, full-fledged knowledge, everything and all will be understanding. But in the case of, because when we have some sort of a basic input is not there, basic, we are not able to refer. And that is why, you will have to get through Shrutis and Agama. Shrutis and Agama, that's why what you call, that means you will have to get into the Adhyatmika through the study of our scriptures. That is why it becomes important. Why finally Brahma Jnanam, you can't get, every day through your everyday body, mind and intellect experiences. You will not be having the validated knowledge. The validated knowledge which you can't get through body, mind, intellect, the only source from which you can get is our scriptures and Shastras. That is why Shastra studies has been given importance. Why people are not studying just for the heck of it, knowing, that he is, to show that he knows the Shastras. Not that, for his own understanding. In fact, why, because all the German universities, NASA and all, they are all pouring into, all our scriptures and all, because some of the things they are trying to infer through whatever they are getting, they want to validate. Is there any validation and all, because these things have been said long before, because what the senses can't understand, we have seen already in Kathopanishad, one famous, mantra I used to quote, Pratipota Viditam Matam Amurtatam Indite. Pratipota Viditam, in the sense, every cognition, every perception, what you are getting has to be validated. Pratipota Viditam Matam. Matam is, the cognitive perception that comes. Once you get the valid knowledge, that is Amrtatvam. Amrtatvam is to get the highest knowledge. Basically, to show all we have, all the knowledge what we have need not necessarily be a valid knowledge. We have a valid knowledge to some extent where we have got the expertise, understanding, we have experience gone through. But so many things we may not be having the valid knowledge. That erroneous knowledge may propel a different attitude and different sort of the way of living in the life. That you can get it clarified and cleared only through agamas. Agamas by getting into Shastric studies like Upanishad and all. This is exactly why we have come into this Upanishad and all to understand. This is how finally we will be able to get some of the knowledge we understand now. Because it makes us to think what we are living, what we are seeing, what we are hearing, what we are doing, what we are capable, our attitude, our approach, everything gets changed because it has to change. Very purpose of studying the Upanishad is we have to change. If we change this, we will be going towards slowly the erroneous knowledge will go off. Valid knowledge will accumulate. As more valid knowledge accumulates, when you are able to get the pinnacle of it, that is called Brahma Vidya. It is not something out of the blue. It is that, but for that you have to go miles and miles. Several births are required to get it into. So this is what we will. I just wanted to give, because why this mantra before going 1.2.13 we are there. We have already seen how the senses are subtler than the objects in the world, because the valid knowledge understanding I told you, because this pratyaksha, anumana and agama shrutis, they are all needed to get to the valid knowledge. Otherwise we will be carrying the erroneous knowledge. As long as we carry the erroneous knowledge, finally, we will be getting into the cycle of birth and death. To avoid that and finally get the Amrtatvam, that is moksha, what we call is fully valid knowledge and the Brahmagyana. That is what it is talking about. In this only, when we said, the senses are more subtler than the objects, and the sensory qualities, because what we call tanmatra, sapta sparsha, rupa rasa gandha, they are all the software which makes you to the touch, and someone touches. When you touch something hot, the feeling of the heat, how it is transmitted to your senses, that is the quality. The tanmatras, they are subtler than the senses also. Senses are subtler than the objects. Sense qualities, that sensory things, they are subtler than the senses. And the mind is subtler than the tanmatras, sensory things. Because our mind is subtler than that, means it is able to get the right. Even if you feel half hot or half cold, it is telling, no, already you have got the experience that is stored from the intellect. So it is not like that. When you have to go particular way, it's a one-way traffic, you don't drive because you have got the knowledge. And the mind says, don't go, you take, because you have to take the next road. That is how it comes. But sometimes, when you are confused, some people are going by, even the prohibited road, then the intellect says, don't go by that road. Because, it's not proper for you. You got the knowledge that you should not be doing it. It guides you, it brings you into order. The existence is brought into an order. That is what it says. We have seen all these things. And we said that the intellect is the subtler than the mind. And the Mahat, the cosmic intelligence is subtler than even the intellect. What does it mean and all we have seen, but now we will be seeing it more clearly in this mantra. That's why we are coming into the 1.2.13.
Just one
1.3
question.
is page 73 of your page. See, little it is philosophical today what you said, but every day it is happening to us. But we are not pervious to that. We are not sort of aware of it. The awareness is that this is happening even without we being aware. That is how it happens is that is why the consciousness that activates us, it takes care of it, and we are able to live in this world, but we without being aware. The Upanishad gives you the awareness so that you are able to get into the validity of your own existence, validity of the knowledge, finally your validity of your existence. 1.3.1.3, page number 77, successive merging from speech to self. That is what the heading you might be seeing, because the document which I have sent to you. This mantra says, Yachet Vang Manasi. Yachet organ of speech, but what we say organ of speech is being taken because long before I told you an example, you might be understanding. When we say sense control and all, the Jnaneshwari, in the film, the very famous Maharashtrian Sant Jnaneshwar, who has written the Jnaneshwari, he has written Amurtanubhavam, one document, one great scripture he has written. It is about experience in life. In that Amurtanubhavam, what he writes is, when you talk about sense control and all, because don't try to torture yourself going to that, but you just control only one sense of yours, that is your tongue. That is good enough because the tongue has got the two functions. One is it gives you the taste, and it is only, it also enable you to express what the mind brings to you, what the intellect gives and the mind brings it, and finally you are able to express whatever you want to say. Whatever you speak is coming through your mouth, as well as the taste is also in the mouth. Once you are able to control the taste as well as what you are speaking, because when you are able to give a sort of a valid speaking and valid taste, once you are able to have a control on this, the two is good enough to control all other senses. This is what he says, Samurtanabhavam. In fact, he must have taken the cue from this mantra. Say here, first mantra, first line says, Yachet Vang Manasi Pragyaha. Yachet Vang Manasi. And they say Yachet, in the sense once you are able to merge your Vang, whatever you are speaking, whatever you are able to get the taste. Here it talks about the speech particularly. Once you are able to merge it with your mind. Yachet Vang Manasi Pragyaha Tachet Jnana Atmani. Because once you are able to, Pragyaha is the mind. The mind, how you will be able to merge your, because the speech into the mind. Basically, how speech comes. Once you see an object, your eyes give the message, you are seeing something. The software, which is your chakshu, which is able to see what it is, and it is sabdasparsha rupa. Rupa will be able to tell what color, what it is. It sends the message to the mind. The mind is able to figure out, it is a flower, it is a person, it is something like that. Then the intellect says, it is so and so person, because you have got the knowledge already. It's your son, your daughter, or it's someone else, it gives all those things. So then you are able to, oh, come on, because where were you and all, you might be asking, that mouth gives that. Before that, what happens? There are four things. Initially, para, and then madhyama, it comes into the mind. Once you come into the mind, because you understand that, so then finally it comes to Vaikari. Vaikari, from that Vani it comes. Vaikari is the one which finally propels your sound box in the throat. Finally it comes. When they say Yachet Vang Manasi Pragyaha, in the sense Vang is what we are able to speak. Manasi is the mind. Manasi, normally Manas is the one which referred. It is a Vedic connotation of Manasi, in the sense the Manas with in full plenitude, with all its capabilities, because the mind can propel you into a sort of madness also, and the mind can take you into the glory of your wisdom also. Either way, it can do it. So Yachet Vang Manasi, when you are able to merge the speech and taste into the mind, merge the speech into the mind, in the sense, supposing you are more because it's, the meditation and all, they say you observe, and otherwise yoga also, because you do all sort of asanas, and when you do, because prayer also, you chant the name of a Lord, Ram or Krishna, Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. You may be saying all those things. But when you are telling that name initially, you may not be having any sort of emotions or feeling. But once you start repeatedly telling just with a focus, as you are doing in the meditation, Om, when we have the meditation every time and all, once you do it slowly, Brahmari, when we do in yoga, Brahmari, when you close your eyes and hold and close your ears and just they recite the name of the mind, the Brahmari, when you say Om, it sends reverberation all through your body. When you do that, once you focus on what you are saying, once you internalize that, slowly it sends the vibration to the mind. So normally when you are talking, the entire mechanics starts from what you are observing from your eyes and how you are getting into the mind, how the intellect advises, then finally it comes through the mouth. Now you will be going the other way around. What you are chanting and what you are thinking, or what you are talking, it will be taken to your mind. It should be pristine, pure. It should be sweet words. You may not talk to your son or a daughter, with something horrible words, but you may try to do it, with your servant mind or the one who is helping you, because she is not part of you. You think she is not part of you, and but of course we may not be doing it, and we understand over a period of time we will have to treat every human being and all. But normally, because the closeness with which you see your son or daughter may not be same with someone else or a stranger. So immediately you react, because when you react, what happens? The wrong that comes about. And that is not, because processed words. It is not, the mind has not taken and the intellect has not processed. No, you say like that. You say it, just like that. Why it is like that? Because, you are habituated. How you are habituated? Your subconscious mind has stored all those things. The subconscious mind, because when the subconscious mind has got the habits, whatever you are doing, you are in the habit of scolding someone, because that will always be in your subconscious mind. But once you are going to talk the sweet words, if you are someone from Lucknow, because they speak, even the child is being addressed as Aap, the Lucknowi, the Nawabi, the Awadhi tongue, because where everyone is treated with the same respect. Once you have that, so that will be wonderful, because likewise, how it comes, because that comes from your subconscious mind. You have processed it. I should not be talking like that, and slowly you have removed, because the all errors of attitude, and it has got stored in your conscious mind. And normally it is said 5% is your conscious mind and 95% is your subconscious mind. So when we talk just like that as a reactive talk, your mouth, tongue doesn't have any control. But once you have, something, you are chanting the Lord's name, or chanting, you are telling us some sweet words, you are giving advice to a student, who wants to crack an exam, or you are advising, you are teaching someone to understand the concepts. You will try to do with the same love and affection, because you are trying to impart something into him. At that time, what happens, you apply yourself, all the wisdom you had gathered in your intellect, and you find, because what type of words will be useful to this person. If a teenager, if you have to teach him something different, and if a adult, you have to teach him, it is something different. Even a small kid, infant, you have to teach, your words will be different. You will adopt it automatically. That comes from there. It is a reverse process. This mantra says, when you are chanting something, when you are talking to something, you do it in such a way, your mind always keeps the pleasant emotions all through. It doesn't give you any source for agitation, any that. So, yachet vang manasi prajna, merge the mouth, merge the tongue, vang, whatever speech into the mind, in the sense, it is always thought about. It is like, because when you are every day when you are cooking, because nowadays we don't do it that much. Earlier, when you have to cook rice, you'll have to take the rice and you clean it in the water once, twice, because take out all the dirt. And finally you put it so that, you get the pure, edible and fine rice to eat. Likewise, when every word when you are talking, it has to be undergoing that process. That can only by validated, whatever you talk, whatever speech you are validating, as I was telling you, pratyaksha, anumana, shruti, when we say, why, because our great masters, they don't talk, in a sort of a continuous flow and all. They talk in a mild and very, very sort of a feeble but very pleasant, sweet language. You are able to understand every word of it. when they talk to everyone, any person who is talking about knowledge, any person who is talking about Shruti, you can just put it in a chapter in a book. You will not find any fault in that. There is there is unwanted words will not be there. You don't have to correct it. It is like a finally edited version of a chapter. It will come like that. This is what exactly it says. Yachet vang manasi pragyaha. The next word says tachet jnana atmani. See, once, because the mind is superior to the senses and tanmatras. When they say all the senses and tanmatras together, they represent by Wang. So when they say when you are able to validate and because act in this world, hear, see, and speak, everything and all, you will not be having any reactive words. Your reactions will come down. You will not get angered. You sit for meditation, and there is some sound of a tap, opened up, and you just immediately, what is that? I'm sitting in a meditation, someone has opened the door, you will not just lose your shirt. You will just see, what it is, because it will not affect you, because you are into meditation. You will be focusing on that. And then someone says, I think Pani ja raha hai, let us stop it. That's all. You will not just react, because अरे किसी का दिमाग है क्या like that, you will not shout like that. So that, whatever we speak, our samskara will undergo a change. Our attitude will undergo a change. Our way of living will undergo a change. Yachet vang manasi pragyaha tachet jnana atmani. Because from there, you get into the intellect. The intellect, because will also be giving the right, input into that. Once you are knowing, the mind is under control. The mind will be controlled by the intellect. It will give the right input, right words. You cannot have a better word than that when you're talking to someone. That is how it will come. But what is the benefit of it? Jnana atmani. Jnana atmani, when you say Jnana atmani mahati. Because Jnana Atmani, once you say, you will say whatever, the best thing that has been spoken about by the words, anywhere else, the best words, you will be talking. You will have that cosmic knowledge coming into you. The very right words, you will be able to, you will not be searching for the words. You will be using the right words. Your reaction will not be there almost. And what you are talking, because will be just like that, you will be pleasant. Your disposition will be pleasant. You will be talking sweetly. They want all these qualities to bring about because it wants you to see, the Upanishad wants you that you do not have any enemies, that you do not have any unlikable persons in the world, nor you are want someone to be unliked by anyone else. You can live in this world like that. That is the final effect of the valid knowledge. Not otherwise. If I am going on reacting every day, every sort of a heck of it, and I am going to react, no. If you want to finally get, this is the basic quality they say. You need it. When you are getting into the Upanishad, when you want to see, you are a mukta, moksha, and you want to see the highest Brahma Vidya knowledge and all, this is the basic quality all of us need. And for that, what we need? Jnana Atmani Mahati, in the sense you need your own effort, certainly, will take to a great extent, but you need what we call God's grace. God's grace is very much Ishvara Anugraha. That's what's it. Ishvara Anugraha is a word that is used in Atma Bodham so many times, because when the Maya is there, the Maya is Adi. It prevents you from, because getting the valid knowledge, it prevents you, it blinds you. But when you are getting the valid knowledge, it is Ishvara Anugraha, whether it is Bhakti school or monastic school, Advaita and all. Finally, you need that. How it will come? That is, with bhakti, you will be able to get. Jnana alone is not important. You may have a very, very great knowledge. You may be a sort of wise person. Everyone can reverse you. But if you are not able to treat the other person as a sort of, someone like a human being, you are nobody. So the bhakti gives you that humility. Vidya Vinaya Sampannaha. When we say, that when it comes, then you are able to see it. That's why people are remembered not for their position or power, because how he has interacted with these people. You might have worked in a department, you might have worked in an organization. But when you go back, How many people are willing to talk to you? How many people, are sort of feeling the joy, when you meet them? But how many people do not want to, they turn their face away and, they don't want, they just avoid you. How it happens? Because it is all how we have treated others, how we have been going to be treated now is conditioned by that. This is what exactly Jnanamatmani Mahati Tadachet Shanta Atmani. Once you are getting, that highest, the cosmic wisdom, because even in the world, cosmic world, in the sense, there is nothing, no one, is, you are going to be, if anything is possible, you are going to do it. Otherwise, you are going to be sort of as kind and compassionate as possible. The kindness and compassion is not something, readily available to us because we have got our own angularities. We have got, our own raga, dvesha, kama, moha, mada, mascharya, all of this. Just because this can't be removed, all this. By developing this attitude, they will go off. They will say this person, because it is the weeds will go off once you take a water it and look after it and the sun is there, the plant will not have any weeds. We are taking out the weeds. The Chet Shanta Atmani. Shanta, because we have discussed last week also. Om Shanti, 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 when we say 3 times when we Shanti is the 3 types of joy. One is the cosmic joy because there is no outwardly intrusion, there is no thunder or river, thunder or rain or anything that disturbs or landslide or anything like that. And because the physically, doesn't happen. One is, the cosmic and another one is physical. Physically some impediment, because there's something, your head is aching, you are not able to speak. And third is Adhyatma, because internally you don't have any agitation. As I have been talking, if I am worried, because my credit card is to be received today, because whether it is going to come or am I to make the payment today, because today is the last date for paying advance tax, incidentally. Am I to pay and all these things, if I have it and then I am talking to it, my mind will be there. I will not be able to do this here. So all the 3 disturbances, and the most important thing is when this is a very least understood word, Shanti or Shanta is, Anta is the end, highest, happiness at the highest, Sha, Anta. Sha is the happiness, Anta is the end of it. Afterwards, there is no harm. Plenitude, happiness in plenitude. When you are Dil Bargia, when we say, I think Dil Kush ho gaya, because when we say, this is art. When we have that attitude, when every moment of it, that is mukti. If you are having, because that type of attitude, Shanta Atmani, Tachet Shanta Atmani, that is one final one, you have to know. But how you will be able to get, that is the highest, whether you call it consciousness or Vishnu or the Parabrahma or Paramatma, because finally, because once you are doing, why you are not having anything, any enemies in this world, all of them are having the same Paramatma inside their heart. It is activating, whether he's a Christian, Judaist, or someone else, African, everyone, all the animals. He's the one activating everything once you know. That's what Ishavadhyam, Upanishad we have seen in everywhere, because Vijigupsate is there, everyone has a sort of internal part of it. So once you know, because what am I there? Same person, guy, maybe a millionaire or a billionaire, or I may be a pauper or I may be a mighty monarch, or I may be someone, who is sort of, the begging for food, or sannyasi, or someone and all, or someone, I want maybe someone respected, I may be in a position of power. All of them are equal, when you consider the common denominator of the life force. Once you have it, no one is enemy to you. No one is unwanted to you. And you are also not unwanted to anyone. But when you find, something, which is not conducive, to your attitude, you are just going to avoid it, because you are not going to participate in it. But as far as you are concerned, you are going to have the kindness and compassion and sweet words going to be part of you times to come. This is exactly it has said, and this is what we have seen. Basically, why it has been said that without this quality, you may not be able to make any effective change in you. See, every day once we have this session and when we go back, certainly all of us are having something to face, something to counter, something to be dealt with. But certainly some of them, will be more important because our mind says so. Some of them will be less important. All of them we will be able to do with the clear, clarified mind without agitating. And because you will find, because how the life has become so wonderful, which has not been so wonderful till yesterday. That is what it brings about. This is the mantra I just wanted to. It's a very important mantra. It has got little more explanation to be done before going to the next mantra, which Vivekananda has taken to the highest plenitude of the words. I think which cannot be explained more than what Vivekananda explained till now. We will be seeing those verses. With this, today I will try to conclude the session. I had a glitch in camera, but anyway, I will set right. Hope you are able to hear. We will have a small meditation with a mantra today. I will tell that mantra, what mantra we are going to have today. And with that, it will be a small meditation. I do not want to take a very longer time because already we have lost some time. And with this, next week also we will be having a session. And then week after next, we will see, at the year end and everything is coming and how we are going to be placed accordingly. So thank you very much. Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Punaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahaihi, Tejasvina Vadidamastuma Vishvidavahaihi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll go for a small meditation.